Hi guys, Randall here. We are having a crazy week coming up in War of the Vision. Louelle, new unit, EX Rain, a new Vision card, a new MR unit, a new item type for Louelle. That's pretty cool. In this video, we'll talk about Louelle specifically, but I'll be doing videos about the other stuff for the rest of the week, so tune in for those. For now though, let's dive in. Louelle is a badass mage. If you were there when Kilphe was released, she was kind of the queen for a while because she could be pretty tanky, deal intense magic damage, deal with evasion units, and then heal on top of that. Louelle is kind of the EX version of that. She is a bulky mage with a pretty high amount of accuracy, large AoE attacks, really nice buffs. The only thing she doesn't have is the ability to heal other characters, but she can heal herself pretty well while hitting the enemy team. So, looking at her stats, these stats at level 99 are very close to Kilphe's stats, and we'll look at stat comparisons a little bit later. But quickly, she has a lot of HP for a mage, very high amount of magic, and also 6 points of defense, so she'll be hard to kill. She also has a 20% innate slash resistance and missile resistance, so she'll be hard to kill by a lot of people. And she's an especially good counter for Frederica's and Nivlu's because she's also Earth with 20% lightning resist. At level 120, she now has 3500 HP, which is crazy. 515 magic. Those numbers are higher than what Yuna has, for example, so she'll be a very tanky and very high damage mage. She is, however, a 3-move jump 1 unit, so she is not mobile, and if you don't have a TMR or something to give her more mobility, she might lag behind the rest of your team. And then she uses books, which is a new weapon type, so if you want to use her, you'll have to farm at least one good book, so you have something to give her. Her master ability increases HP and earth attack for everybody, and then she has some resistance to disable, which is one of the best status effects to be resistant to, so that's a good thing for her. Now let's look at her passives. First of all, Scholar's Knowledge increases her defense by 12 and accuracy by 20. That's pretty badass. With her innate 6 defense, she now has 18 defense before anything else, so she can reach pretty high numbers. Then I would probably run Scholar's Knowledge and her last ability, Sharp Mind, which increases Spirit Penetration and Accuracy. So you have a total of 40 Accuracy and 40 Spirit Penetration, so you can fight magic tanks or magic bruisers. All the other ones are pretty good though. The second one increases Earth Attack, which means all her abilities will deal more damage. The third one decreases her cast time for all her abilities, and it makes her highest damage ability, a line attack that we'll see in a little while, an instant cast ability. So that's pretty good. But seeing as she has so many other good abilities to use, I don't feel like it's necessary. And then on top of that, you could just increase her magic if you wanted a boost to overall performance. And then counters are pretty important for her because since she's tanky, she is likely to proc them. And I'm not sure yet which one I prefer. I would probably scrap Magic Conversion because being a mage, she'll have a pretty high amount of AP innately. But between the two counters, the Scholar one has 50% more chance to proc, right? 30% base is pretty high, it's the same as Aeon Bond. But then the other one has one more square of range, so there are more scenarios where it might actually proc. Not sure which one's the best, we'll have to test them out and see. Now let's dive into the meat and potatoes, her main job. It is pretty impressive in my opinion. First of all, her basic ability with a low AP cost deals 141% mud, which is pretty high. You have a cast time unless you take her to EX jobs, but if you do, it's now an instant ability that also decreases AP. That's pretty good. Then she can buff her own defense, and remember, we already had 18 defense before equipment and any buffs, so with a lot of gear and then this ability on, she can have over 50 defense and have a buff that prevents it from being reduced, so she'll keep that defense throughout the fight. Now that does not protect her against defense penetration though. These enemies just ignore her defense score and they don't try to directly reduce it, so the defense debuff resistance does not apply to that. Then she has the Earth Calling buff, which increases Earth attack for allies around her, and also Evocation Gauge and single target resistance. we are getting better espers with better evocation abilities as the game goes, so I could see some scenarios where you actually want to increase evocation gauge now. And then single target resistance will protect you against some abilities, but most characters now have access to AoE attacks, so it might not be the best kind of defense. Still though, if she's paired with other Earth units, this buff is crazy. Earth attack will increase all of their damage types, so that's pretty good. Then, I think the best ability for Louelle will be the Rockfall ability. That is a large AoE attack that heals her for 30% of the damage done. If you have used 2B, you know that 30% is pretty good. I very frequently heal back for 1800 with my 2B if I can hit 2 people with an attack. And so I expect Louelle to heal back quite a bit with this. Also, this is a strike attack that's magic based. So if you are fighting enemies with magic resistance build, you can just punch through the magic resistance, literally, by dealing strike attack to them. So that's very, very interesting. This does have a cast time though, so you have to land it at the right moment. Then her next ability, Healing Method Flash, is a line attack that's going to hit everybody in the line. It deals her highest mod, 220%, so it's her highest damage ability, and then it will also decrease the healing power for targets. This does have a cast time initially, but if you equip the passive that we've spoken about earlier, this passive will make Healing Method Flash immediate. So with that, she'll be able to hit with her hardest hitting ability immediately. Then her level 120 buff, Immediate Action, increases agility of allies around her, and also AP. What's not to love there? Everybody's gonna go faster, and then all the allies, not ourselves, are gonna get more AP, but she still gets more AP just because she's using a TP ability. So yeah, pretty solid 120 ability. I do think this will be useful whenever you pair her with a team that's not Earth. Alright, now let's talk about her Limit Burst, and this is really what pushes her over the line, I think. Initially, if you equip the right passive, she has 40% Spirit Penetration. With her Limit Burst, she goes all the way to 80 Spirit Penetration for 3 turns. So now you have a character that basically ignores enemy spirit. And that can ignore enemy magic resistance because she can use magic-based strike attacks, and as we'll talk about later, magic-based slash attacks as well. So really, there's no way for magic tanks to tank that outside of using magical barriers, so that's really strong. Then the Scholar subjob, not that big a fan. You get access to an ability that decreases cast times while restoring her own CT, so her next turn will go quicker and then she'll cast quicker. That's good, but I'm not sure how often that'll be the best thing to have compared to what the other subjobs provide. And in the same line of thinking, she gets access to a single target spell that deals damage and decreases attack, but I prefer what her other subjobs will give her. And what I mean by other subjob is really Rune Knight. She is also a black mage. I won't even touch that. You guys probably know what black mages do. They have casting times and they do heavy magic damage. But she has that in her main job, so I think you'll want your subjob to give you something different, like the Rune Knight sub. Now, Drain Evocation, you deal low damage, increase your own magic for 1 turn, and heal back for all the damage you do. That's pretty cool. She's good at healing herself. And she has access to a slash attack move that has Lightning Killer and will deal pretty serious slash damage. Hazard Spell, not the best buff. I think she has better stuff in her main job, but it's a magic increase in case you need it. She can also Imperil Earth, again supporting Earth teams pretty well, and for this reason I think she would do great in an Earth raid team where she could increase Earth attack to everybody and then decrease Earth resistance for the boss. And then her final ability is Tonga Sword, which will deal pretty serious damage, again, in a short range. Now, I'm a bit sad that she did not get Hazard Sword, Hazard Slash, because that would have really given her access to a long-range slash attack. But I still think she can do fine with the Rune Knight subjob, because she is bulky. She'll be able to take a couple hits, so she has time to get in the middle, in the thick of the fight, and then attack. So she's a character that can fight at long range and short range pretty well. Now, before we do stat comparisons, we need to talk about her TMR. The Sage Barret is an insane item. It has okay stats, 400 HP, 8 defense, that's cool. But the main reason why it's crazy is because it's the first time we get access to an ability like this. Or I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the first time we have access to an AoE luck up buff. And 35% luck is the same luck that's given by the Secrets of the Heart card that every evasion builds uses. It's insane in terms of the additional evasion and accuracy the guys with this buff will get. And then on top of that, your guys are going to be immune to blind and stop for 3 turns. So that's pretty crazy. I would definitely see myself putting this hat on to be as a samurai, so she can like turn 1, illusion, turn 2, wish for peace, and then nobody can hit her. That's an insane buff. So for evasion teams, this TMR will definitely see play. I think it's going to be a very powerful one. Now, time to look at a couple stats. So, Louelle compared to Yuna. We have quite a bit more HP on the side of Louelle. She's pretty good. And then she has more magic and a little bit less agility, but not game-breaking. So overall, well, Yuna can sometimes be one-shot, but she has the OP counter ability where she goes back to full life. Louelle does not have that, so she needs to get a turn to heal back up, and then I'm not sure how often her AI, if you're playing her on auto, will use her healing abilities. So she might be as hard to kill as Yuna, just because there's a difference between being tankier and being squishy, but having a counter ability that heals you back to full. And then in terms of damage, I'm expecting their damage to be very similar. They have very high magic, these are the highest values in the game right now, so they're all going to hit pretty hard. I also want to compare Louelle to Kilphe. Obviously that's not fair for Kilphe because she's still only 99. But you can tell Kilphe was a tanky mage with high magic, high HP, and low agility, and Louelle is really just the slightly better version of that. So if you've enjoyed the gameplay of Kilphe, you'll definitely have a fun time with Louelle as well, I think. I did think of a couple nice team comps to use with her. If you're fighting magic, you could run Kilphe and or Winter Venera as a Spellblade so that you give more magic resistance to your entire team, and then you go ahead and attack the enemy team with this super bulky anti-magic frontline, and then Louelle as a carry from the back. You could also run her with a tank like King Mont, and then use her Earth Attack up buff to make an Earth physical attacker like Eileen deal insane damage and take out the enemy team quickly. I would love seeing a team with Yuna and Elshra, where we have 2 Rune Knights. Elshra quickhands Louelle into the enemy team, while Yuna casts Re-Raise on her, and she just fights with all those buffs. That would be interesting to see. But I think Louelle, with her kit, is a very versatile unit that will fit in a lot of teams. She is a high-power magic attacker with nice buffs for everybody, especially if you get her to 120. So she could work well with Tidus, with just about anyone who's strong. She does not necessarily need team synergy to work well, just like Yuna. So what's my verdict overall? Well, she's a very tanky Earth Mage that can fit multiple roles, she deals damage, she buffs pretty well. She has 3 different damage types when she's coming in a fight as a Rune Knight, which is pretty sick. And then she's not limited, so you can build her whenever. If you already have Kilphe built though, you already have the Earth Mage side of your account covered, so unless you have free resources to spend right now, you might be fine with that. And then Black Rose Helena will be coming shortly, and then eventually we'll have some more collaborations, so you might not want to spend to pull for her, but rather go for her when you pull her naturally. On my side, I am going to do the step up if there's one, hoping to get her, and then I'll see. I really want her mainly for her TMR and its ability to enable evasion teams even further, but her kit is also really cool and I would love to play it. But I don't want to use all my resources to go for her right now, knowing what's coming in the near future. So we'll see how lucky I get. So that was it, guys. Pretty long, but those are complex EX units that are getting released, so we need some time to break them down properly. And so if you like the video, please like and subscribe. It will make it more likely that you see my content in the future. And then as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.